two pieces of background information about Vaughn. You'll talk about SplinkMe. Number one, SplinkMe produced one of the last records that Proof from Eminem's group D12 ever recorded before his untimely murder. And then SplinkMe sponsored the Detroit Takeover showcase at the South by Southwest Music Festival in Austin, Texas last year. They brought dozens of Michigan-based artists to the biggest music festival in the U.S. to showcase Detroit-based talent on a national scale. Vaughn, go ahead. Thanks.
This is sure it's all from DNewTech.
Hello? Yep.
Am I good?
Yep.
Good. I see it's going to be kind of hard to compete against pizza. That's always difficult. I see how sparse it is. But I'll just get into it. My name is Vaughn. I'm CEO and founder of Splink. SplinkMedia.com is actually the name. And what we do is we connect advertisers with independent artists for scalable marketing campaigns. But before we get into that, I want to get a little background about myself and kind of how I had my aha moment for Splink Media. I'm in a music group called Athletic Bike League. We're locally based, and for an independent group, we've seen some level of success. We released commercial albums, toured, produced for notable artists, and some of you may even recognize maybe our most famous member is Mayor Hawthorne, who has seen some success on a national scale. So, like I'm sure many of you guys, I've heard a lot of artists from Johnston, I believe there was somebody in their group too was an artist. It can become very difficult trying to monetize, strictly off of music alone. So what I did in 2007, I went back to U of M to get my degree. Then I went down to the University of South Florida and got my master's degree in entrepreneurship. Now, when I graduated and I came back, one thing that I noticed that was changed was that there was emergence of new media platforms like MySpace, Twitter, YouTube. And all these artists nowadays have more fans and more exposure than ever. But because of these new media platforms as well, fans were less willing to buy and pay for music. So it's kind of a weird situation where these independent artists are now more famous than ever, but are more poor almost than ever too. And I have some independent artists in the room too that could probably attest to that. At the same time, this media technology had changed the way advertisers have been working too. It kind of was a big shift as these new media platforms like MySpace and Twitter were taking, and my consumers were migrating from traditional ones to new, and advertisers were struggling on a way to how to engage and really how to connect with them on these new platforms. And what they were doing is outsourcing a lot, and even, for example, Kraft has 70 specialist firms that outsource to do their media digital marketing, and sometimes they even outsource on top of the outsourcing. That's how hard it is. So there's an opportunity there. I saw that artists have the audience on these new media channels, but they're not making the money. Advertisers have the money, but they don't know how to connect with the consumers on these new platforms. So this is where Splink Media was born. That was my aha moment. And I dedicated myself to there from there, and I'm sure even my girlfriend can attest to that. I have dedicated myself to this. So let's get into it right now. So the first thing we do on Splink Media, I'm sure everybody can see, is we aggregate all the social media stats and their fan bases from all their social media, such as Twitter, MySpace, to get a size of their total network, so you can see how big they are. Also, we break this down into demographic data about their fans, like size, like male, female, where their age groups are their fans, and also we can get into the likes and dislikes of their fan base as well. Just all this demographic data we mine from their social networks. You can also see where they're most popular, where their most fans are, their accomplishments, and even see videos and examples and things of that nature. So why this demographic data is important is because now we can connect, as when brands and larger companies do campaigns on Splink Media, we are able to connect them with the artists that have the most influence in their target consumer base. So if you look, for example, this is an example campaign that say Adidas would do, and then I'll read this for you. Adidas is launching a new men's fashion mid shoe, and we're looking for quality music video shoots to feature our product in. It's important here, you see their desired network is 100,000. That means they want to reach 100,000 fans, and they want to target males 18 to 30 in major markets. So what we do is we send out this bulletin to all artists who match these demographics, same demographic needs, who the fans are 18 to 30 in major markets. And for example, so then now Adidas is able to browse through and pick the artists they want to launch these campaigns. For example, they see an artist like Rose, a Detroit artist. He has a total network of about 7,000. Adidas would say, hey, this guy has a good demographic of males and targeting males. And even better, it's all in fashion. So we like Rose, we want him to add him to the campaign. Now, the thing is, what we make is scalable, and we add the crowdsourcing to it, is we saw that Rose total network was 7,000. Adidas have a required network of 100,000. So what they do is they add artists on here, kind of crowdsourcing, until they reach their desired goal of 100,000. Now, once they reach their desired goal of 100,000, the campaign is launched and it's on their way. And artists are paid on a scale, on a proportionally to the size of their network. So everyone wins. So the result is this. The shoe is featured in all the hottest videos within a month span. That all the hottest videos of indie videos, that come out in a certain amount of time. It's the talk of the town. It's associated with great content, and it's a creative and new way to market your product through new media. Almost done. Artists get new revenue streams. Fans get free great content. Splink Media returns a service fee, and we get commissions. So everybody wins, everybody's smiling. And what our asks are basically is case studies. I know this is a room full of entrepreneurs, so we actually have a large network in Detroit alone right now, almost close to 1 million fan-based network. And if anybody has a product they want to try to test this out with, we love that. Partners, anybody has good technology that wants to partner, talent, we're always looking for talent. We need good feedback, guys, so shoot us down. We did the Ann Arbor one, and we learned a lot from there, and guidance. Always need good guidance. So that's my contact, and that's the communication.
Great. Okay, Q&A.
I'll ask a quick question. In terms of you're shooting for, let's say in your example, $100,000 or 100,000 connections in terms of kind of the overall network. Do you do any filtering to see where they overlap, and so you're not double counting one person and things like that?
We've taken that into account. We don't do that right now, but that's definitely an account. On a very basic level, what we'll do is probably just match names, and where the names are matched up, you'll probably get 90% correct about that. And then we'll try to get more sophisticated from there. But it's a plus and a minus. Some people may want to hit people multiple times, through the same networks, and then at the same time. So we just want to give them the information. This person overlaps this many times, or they don't. So you'll have the information to be able to decide based on it.
A quick suggestion, tip, whatever you want to call it. When you really start to look at the actual value of different people's networks, so certain people may have, you might find that this person is an influencer who's within that network, and therefore they have a higher value, or maybe this person's network is underrepresented in this group that we're hitting to. So I think that's really where you can add a lot of value. It's not just the sheer numbers of, well, we've got 12,000 Facebook contacts, but maybe you come up with your own Splink rating.
Yeah,
and then you can kind of...
there are people that do that like Cloud, I'm sure.
Right.
And they actually offer API that we can even integrate. Because I don't know if I necessarily want to get into that realm because it's very competitive, but if we can just access the API, which we plan on doing, it does the same.
Yeah, I think it'd increase your value.
A couple questions on how this is delivered. So in the Adidas example, they wanted to feature the shoes in the video.
Yes.
So do you then reach out to the artist and have them require produce a piece of media that fits the needs of Adidas, or how does that work?
Well, I didn't get into that, but there will be some specifics when we go to the page. Whatever their specific criteria is what they could. So what we're suggesting is that there are a group of artists who are always doing and producing content at all times. So Adidas will have some kind of fine print specification. We want you to feature the shoe, showcase it this many times in the video, and things like that with some specifications. And what we do is we're targeting agencies and people who kind of understand what to do and how to specify these type of things. So is that your question?
Yeah, how the advertising is delivered. Is there another method where they're delivering banner ads or different things to the websites? What are some of the other models?
Yeah, so the models, again, like I said, for right now, we want to produce some turnkey kind of solutions. We don't have them right now, but we are developing right now. But what we wanted, so right now it's kind of wide open. It's where the mind of the advertiser, the agencies are, and they just need kind of an outsourcing crowd talent to execute. So we basically are like a talent agency. We linked it to it. Yeah. So there's no turnkey solutions right now. We'll get to that, but right now it's kind of just, I have an idea. I need these people to execute, and we put it to it.
So that brings me to my last question is, you're breaking down your time for reaching out to both artists and potential advertisers. Are you doing 50-50 in the search for artists and advertisers, or is it more weighted towards the latter?
Well, right now, we're trying to build our critical mass as far as our entertainers are concerned. So we're pretty soon we're going to launch a campaign where we're going to gather our critical mass. So now we have a size, and it's very easy. You don't have to twist any artist's arm to join the network. But what we've learned. So once we build this size of a network, then we're going to recruit this type of advertising.
Okay, and then put like
Let's
an
switch
iTunes.
microphones
Oh,
and
sorry.
come back if you have
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought your aha moment was brilliant, how you were able to take two disparate trends and connect them. I think you should get a lot of credit from that as the one to discover it. But you acknowledge, like, you're the middleman, and as the middleman, what's to prevent somebody else from taking the same idea and doing it?
You just have to build. We have to be first to build the critical mass. It's just like almost any other site where we concentrate. The beauty of it is we concentrate on getting top level type of artists. And I have connections and resources where we can do this. So there is some kind of barrier to entry where can you access and can you get these top level artists? So that's basically it. So there's no way you can prevent somebody from making a kind of a copy of what we have, but we just have to ensure that we have the best quality artists and the best service, and have them first. So we have them first, and it's hard to switch over.
You just said it, I'm sorry, I missed it. What stage are you at right now? Is the technology there? Or?
The technology, this is, if somebody saw our Ann Arbor, we presented in Ann Arbor, and we presented something different. The technology for what we have right here is almost all there, but it's not implemented yet because we're just waiting to get the critical mass. I would say, from what I presented, we're about 90%.
Just follow-up question. Is it true that Mayor Hawthorne scratched with Slum Village back in the day?
Yeah, Mayor Hawthorne is in an old group of mine called Athletic Michael. He was our DJ, and he's actually a good friend of mine. And we were signed to Barack Records in 2004, which was Slum Village's record label. So he did some cuts on their album.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much. While Gary's getting microphones here, Gary lives in the West Bloomfield area, and in the last 2 years he's been working with investors in both China and Taiwan who are interested in acquiring distressed properties in Michigan. Now we all know there are absolutely no distressed properties in Michigan, so I don't know what he's been doing with his time. In his spare time he likes long distance running, and he hopes one day to run the Boston Marathon. About his business, Riskshooter, it was founded a long time ago, December 2010, after several old friends had a meetup over Thanksgiving. They're one of the first companies to quantify credit risk for both private and public companies. So with that, Gary, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Gary Wong. I'm here to present my new company called Riskshooter.
No.
Oh, this one. Okay, sorry. Okay, Riskshooter is an online tool for companies in B2B to quantify credit risk. And for your information, credit risk is the risk that your borrower failed to pay you as promised. And for most company, credit risk is very important because a sale is not a sale until you get paid. So if you sell products to customer and you let them owe you money, you are basically a trade creditor. And in US in general, you will incur about 30 to 60 days of credit risk exposure. For most trade creditor, the biggest question is, can the customer pay me back? To answer that question, conventionally, you can subscribe to a service like Dun & Bradstreet, or you can hire an analyst or consultant to evaluate the financial statement of your customer. By doing this, you basically will accumulate a lot of information, such as financial statements, payment trends, public filings, and many others. But in the end of the day, how are you going to finalize your decisions? Are you going to base on some instinct or gut feeling that is, for most people, that's not consistent, or you're going to base on something more reliable? Riskshooter achieve consistency in credit risk management by quantifying the customer capability to pay. To use the service, you first have to get financial statements from the customer. You enter the statement in our system. We do the analysis and provide a quantified report instantly online. With this report, you should be able to simplify a lot of decision-making process and I'll talk about that later. This is an input panel for Riskshooter. As you can see, we only require a few financial informations. Upon submission of those data, Riskshooter algorithm will use information from business cycle, industry, size of company, and financial ratios to evaluate the financial health of the company. And from that, we can also calculate the company capability to pay. Further, we quantify the customer default rate and also loss rate so that you can use these two information to compare with your profit margin. This comparison will simplify a lot of decisions, such as, do you want to extend credit or cut credit for this customer? Do you want to give them a discount, and by how much, to get your money back earlier? If you have a lot of customers, Riskshooter will provide you a portfolio view. This list is organized for companies from let's say the company at the top is the strongest and company at the bottom is the weakest. So for the strongest company, the default rate is 0.02%. So which means if you do business with this customer and you give them credit, the chances for not paying you is very slim. The one at the bottom is 61%. So if you do business with this customer, there's 61% chance you're not going to get your money. And if you bring them to court and you are lucky, probably you are going to get back 36%. You're going to lose 36%, so you got back about 64%. So the number highlighted is the risk and reward comparison for the whole portfolio. So for this company, they are not in a very good situation because they are potentially going to lose more money than what they are going to make. So something needs to be done in order to protect themselves. Based on our study, the closest competitor, we are most similar to a company called Moody's, and they have a product called KMV. And other companies like Dun & Bradstreet, CRMZ, they are basically information provider that focus more on customer payment behavior rather than quantify risk. We believe Riskshooter provide a similar service to Moody's, KMV, with a fraction of the cost. Currently, we are still bootstrapping, and we have complete all the basic functionality of the model. And we are looking for advisors from experienced VC or entrepreneurs. We are looking for about $200,000 to $300,000 to complete the product, especially to interact with different databases. And we are also looking for customers like us to run as a beta users. 5 minutes. These are the skill set that we are looking that will help our company. So the company was set up about, 3 weeks ago? And, but the model was developed back in 2005. And this is the graph that basically inspired us to start the company. As you can see here, basically Moody's have a lot of analysts. There's no way that they can't tell that Lehman Brothers is going down in January of 2007. But based on my experience, my previous work experience, if you have an analyst with, in which the future based on the company, the success of the company that he's evaluating, I think there's a lot of space for us to be in this market.
Great, thank you very much. 5 minutes for Q&A. We have both microphones.
Would this program be applicable currently in emerging BRIC countries?
Yeah, we have the model up on our website online, and it works for, currently it only works for in all the manufacturing companies, banks, pharmaceutical. We have the model, like 6, 7 different models, but currently we don't have a database. Everything is in Excel. So we can only support 3 models on our website.
And just to clarify, the portfolio, like looking at a small company like mine, a lot of small customers, you probably wouldn't have data on those types of customers.
Our data was built on using sample of customer with assets starting from 100,000 to a few $1 billion.
On your list of competing products, I'm not sure, but you might want to add a Fair Isaacs to that. Are you familiar with that? Fair Isaacs, where FICO comes from, which is Fair Isaacs credit.
Yeah, but they are for like people like you and me.
But I think Fair Isaacs has a corporate product as well.
Okay, I'll check that.
So you might want to take a look at that.
Okay, thank you.
Could you be more descriptive about your revenue model? How you're going to charge for this? How you're going to make money off of this?
We haven't think thoroughly about this revenue model. What we are thinking is like if we charge $100 a month, subscription based, then we can probably generate about, like for each customer, we can generate about $1,200. And we are targeting company with 50 employees to 500. And there are about 500,000 companies just in the US. And I believe like of those 500,000 companies, there are 20% of them are B2B. I think company with B2C won't use our product because their counterparty are end users. So with this calculation, we're thinking about at least $12 million in the beginning for in a year. But this is just a start because this model, we can use this model for a lot of different usage. This is one of the applications. And for a start, we want to target not for companies no larger than 500 because we don't, and when we are more established, we can go to like bigger company, like more than from 500 to 5,000.
Any other questions? Okay, great.
Wait, we got one more. Here, Jim.
Can you help me understand again how the data is collected? Did you say that I would need to collect data on my potential customers' financial, or do you have another data feed for that?
If you want to evaluate the private companies, you have to collect the financial data yourself. And if you are a trade creditors, you are basically lending money to your customer for working capital investment. So I think most of the customers are reasonable and they will provide you a financials. Not all of them, but most of them.
Did that answer your question? Okay.
Something you want to test.
Great.
Something I encourage you to test.
Thank you. Mohammed?
Yeah.
There you are. While Mohammed's getting wired up here, Mohammed's lived and worked in 6 countries: Lebanon, Syria, Canada, US, and Indonesia, and Germany. He had so many frequent flyer miles that he was still using them 8 years after he stopped traveling. There was a movie about you. You were caught in the airport and you couldn't get out. So.
Is that right?
Yes. And the project that he's going to describe, it started as homework for an English technical writing class. To overcome poor writing skills and to get a good grade, he invented a program that simulated navigation software way before GPS was invented. So I'll let him talk about what he has done and where he is now. Mohammed, go ahead.
Thank you. By the way, the GPS was invented, but it was not on sale yet. Only the military used it. Thank you very much for being here. It's tough enough to get an audience, and to get an audience in a weather like this, that's even better, especially smart audience like you. Give yourself a hand. Okay, it seemed like this one jumped the gun. Yeah, I was clapping, but you know, so much for DNewTech. What we do is we help you avoid that sinking feeling that you get in the pit of your stomach when the phone rings while you're driving. And it seems that the phone always rings when it's really not a good time for it to ring. You're between I-94 and I-75 during rush hour. Or your car, you just hit the brake and the car kept going because there's snow on the road. And that's our specialty. We're not into the medical field, we're into the technology field, and that's how we're able to do it. Our field is called driver.
We can barely hear you.
Can you put it closer?
I don't know, did it die? I don't hear anything.
Can you put it closer?
Move the microphone further up on your lapel.
Hello? Well, what else is going to go wrong today? I'm not sure. Okay. So back to that feeling in your stomach. What we aim to do is allow people to use communication while they're driving, but without getting that icky feeling or without worrying about getting accident and so on. Now people say, well, why don't you just keep the phone turned off while you're driving? We've done a recent survey with Wayne State University students back in December, and they found out that more than 50% of people use the phone to communicate with family members about family issues. You know, bring the milk, pick up the kids, etc. And work was not the primary reason. So for us to be humans and to maintain this lifestyle that we live today, we really need to be in contact, but we need to do it safely. How does our system work? What we do is we have a little computer that monitors what the driver is doing, what the car is doing, what the phone is doing, and what's going on with the environment around the car. Then we look for comparable patterns that caused accident in the past. And that's what we call history. Or for regulation. Are we going over the speed limit unintentionally and so on? And if such conditions that says that it's going to be a danger occur, then we jump in and we mitigate the cause. For example, if your turn signal is engaged, or if your steering wheel is at an angle, that tells us that you're doing something critical. We don't let the phone ring. For as far as the caller is concerned, he's still waiting for you to pick up. And that's in a nutshell how the system works. Now, who needs that and why do they need it? Anybody that drives and have a cell phone, from 16-year-old who just got his driving permit up to the hazmat truck driver. And these are the two areas that we're going to tackle the most, because the 16-year-old and the hazmat truck driver are focused on policy-driven use of cell phone. So your parents wants to tell you what to use it, and your manager wants to tell you how to use it. And this is going to be our first two consumers. The products are very similar, but they're at different end of the market. That's going to be the product that we want to put in the market.
The other advantage is that while the car is moving, it's collecting data. And that data is of benefit to the driver himself and to other drivers on the road. The government has a program called IntelliDrive, and they're trying to roll out, and our product fit the bill 100% except for the vehicle-to-vehicle communication. We do everything through the portal. So let's say I'm driving at 7:30 in the morning and I hit black ice. You're coming in behind me at 7:45. You don't have to hit the black ice because you will receive the warning that there is a black ice at that spot. And things of that nature. So that data is also can be customized for specific industries or for specific use. So policy is enforced company-wide, not on a person-by-person basis. But the manager is out of people that drive hazmat material, and they tell him, give him a wink, go on and get in the truck. When he gets into that truck doesn't go anywhere because the policy said this guy is not certified to drive a hazmat truck. So these are two on our target, the fleet and the teenagers, and that's what we're looking to implement by the end of this year. We already have 3 orders, but none of them materialized because the product is not done yet. And now we're looking for $1 million.
Only hit till 8:08 apparently.
and we're looking for $1 million to over four to finish the design and the pre-marketing and the pre-sale of the product. Thank you very much. And I hope that you guys are all insured.
I don't know what's
Unfortunately,
next.
as an entrepreneur, you have to be able to adjust to anything. My dog ate my floppy disk, whatever.
I came in without presentation.
Okay, 5 minutes for Q&A, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Grab the microphone.
Wow. Oh, okay.
So is this going to be strictly an aftermarket product?
Yes, we are already beginning to receive interest from OEMs, foreign OEMs for licensing, but that takes a long time, and we are targeting the aftermarket because of the volume that's out